Hey guys, welcome back. This is part one of 2 parts Throne of Glass reading vlog. This year I have been making my way through all of the Throne of Glass books. It has been an incredible time. I've got some in real life friends that I've been sharing the reading process with. It's been a blast. There's actually a couple different ways that you can read the Throne of Glass series, a lot like the Shadowhunter books. There's a lot of different experiences that you can have. But I went ahead and picked this reading experience because this is the one that was suggested to me several times if you didn't want anything spoiled for you. That is Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Assassin's Blade, which these are 5 short stories that actually take place before Throne of Glass, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows. The last 3 books I don't have the physical copies of at this very moment, but it is the Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn tandem read, and then Kingdom of Ash. As far as the entire Sarah J. Maas universe of all of her books, I ended up reading A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Then I've read the first 2 of Crescent City, and now I'm reading The Throne of Glass. I had started reading Throne of Glass, and then I fell off of it. I quit reading them for a little while, and then I recently just started over from the beginning. But I definitely feel like I connected to it a lot more the second time. And I think that after I'm finished reading this series, I'm not going to jump right into it, but I do want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses and then Crescent City. And I do have the 3rd Crescent City book, but I have not read it yet. And I thought that that would be a really good reading experience to read all of these series in publication order as well. So that's kind of the plan. Obviously, it's going to take quite some time, and I don't want to just drop everything and just read for that. There's a lot of other things I'm very excited to read, so it's going to be kind of in the back burner. I think that this time around I'm going to end up reading Court of Thorns and Roses via audiobook. For this video, we are going to read Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Assassin's Blade, and Heir of Fire. And then the next video is going to be Queen of Shadows through Kingdom of Ash. So that is the plan. We definitely get into spoiler territory, especially when we get into Heir of Fire. There, at the end of that book, it gets incredibly action-packed. And I'm going to share some lines with you that just had me going. These 2 videos are intended if you have already read the series and you would like to maybe get a recap on kind of what happens, and also just kind of talk over some moments. So, all right, well, I really hope that you enjoy this vlog, and we'll see you soon. Technically, this is a reread for me. At this moment, I am actually almost finished with this book already. I have less than 100 pages to go. So I am kind of jumping into this reading vlog a little bit late because I have a ton of other video projects on my plate to edit already. So I was just going ahead and reading this. But another really cool thing is, okay, so this is going to be a really fun reading experience as well, because I've met the other women at this party who are at different stages of reading all of these books. We all started like this group chat so we can like talk about these books and share about these books and stuff like that, and it has been so much fun. And I also met another woman who's going to be starting these books as well, and because I started them, I think it's because I started them, I kind of like inspired her to like go ahead and pick them up. So I want to check in with her and see how far she's gotten. Well, I'm just so excited to have like a whole bunch of people, like in real life people, to connect with over these books. Anyways, on this read, I'm definitely trying to slow down and read it, do more of a deep read. So I have been annotating it. It's been like over a year since I actually read these. And I feel like it's not even the same book that I remember. Like, so much more happens in this story, and as I come across it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. And like some of the characters, the princess from Yulway, I'm sorry, there's actually a pronunciation guide in the back of my book. Nehemia from Yulway, that's right. I completely forgot about her character at all. We're following Selena Sardothian. She's originally from Terrason, which is up here in the northern part of the country. And she's called Aderlin's assassin. She gets in trouble somehow. She gets caught and tossed into Endover, which is over here, which is what they do with prisoners, but they also go to work. So they put her to work in the salt mine. They come by and they whip her really, really badly. And so she has these really bad whiplash marks, scars on her back. In Aderlin is where the king's castle is. And he's got like this glass castle. He is having a competition. So competitors are competing to be the king's assassin and work for the crown, work for the king, and give him their loyalty. So different nobles and lords are going to find competitors and put them into this competition, and then whoever wins the competition can be the king's assassin. So the prince himself goes to find Selena, and there is a personal vendetta. There's some personal stuff between the king and Selena, I believe, but we haven't exactly got the whole details on that yet. The prince goes and finds Selena as his champion, and he appoints Kale, who is the king's guard, to be like her personal guard, make sure she doesn't get herself into trouble, and he's also in charge of her training schedule. So they come up with this deal that if she wins and she gives them 4 years of her life, that she can earn her freedom. So she's like, okay, sure, let's do this. I will win. So they take her to the castle in Rifthold, which is in Aderlin. So while she's there, she's like training and stuff like that. And then there's different trials. Like they had this one where they had to identify poisons in these cups. And then they had another one where they had to like climb a wall and capture a flag. And during all of this, there is something that is killing the competitors and like tearing them to shreds. Also, we have a visitor. How do you pronounce her name again? Then we have a young princess called Nehemia from Eelway. She has come to the castle to learn the Aderlin way, learn the language, and hopefully get the king's ear to make things better for her people and her country. So Selena, when she first gets there, she does have an encounter and meets the king when she first gets there, but then the king takes off on some mission. Also, magic. Okay, so we know this is a fantasy. Most fantasies have magic and everything, but at the time of this book, there is no magic. The king of Aderlin has gotten rid of all traces of magic, and also people, fae folk, anybody with like pointy ears, like all that stuff has been all but eradicated. It's been gone for like a really long time. We talk about it here and there in this book. Also underneath the castle, there are all of these tunnels that Selena has found. They go like all over the castle. There's even a tunnel that takes you outside. This creature that has been killing people, she believes somehow came from one of these doors underneath the castle. She also found something else in the catacombs, which kind of inserts us into more of the history. Such cool stuff. Oh, and then there's all of these weird marks, and weird marks are like ancient magic. And someone's now using these weird marks, which she's like, how is that even possible? Because there is no magic anymore. The love interest. So Selena is a very beautiful woman. And despite her position, despite her purpose, and despite her being incredibly dangerous, we have two characters who obviously start feeling something for her. And I can't help it. I think that there's a part of me and on this reread that I think, oh my God, like really, are we really doing this? But at the same time, I kind of love it. I really love Dorian. He is like so sweet. He's definitely not like a royal. We have this other character. She is actually already promised to Duke Parrington, but that's just not good enough for her. She has her eyes set on Dorian, and this is causing a huge conflict with her. She's also an addict. She's addicted to opioids. She's always talking, like every time she's in a scene, and it's getting more and more intense as the book goes on. She is obviously very like addicted to her pipe or opium, and I think that's a very interesting character trait from the story. I really hated her at the beginning, but I'm just wondering, maybe I just have more pity for her now at this point. Hey guys, how's it going? It is Sunday night, and I have finished Throne of Glass. I actually stayed up fairly late last night to finish it up. It was so good. I thought the ending was really good. I love Dorian and I love Kale. Dorian is just like so much easier to love though, because they have so many more interactions, and it seems like Selena was choosing Dorian. I am really pleased with the way that it ended, where Selena left things off, because leave it to girls to be the practical ones. But it does make me feel really sad in a way, but also like hopeful, because I want to see what's next. I know, because this is technically a reread, I know that there are going to be other people along the way throughout the book. Yeah, so it just makes sense. Reading the ending was like reading it for the first time again, because I didn't remember how that worked. One thing that I thought was interesting is when the princess gave her weapon to use, because it was 100% like a statement. It could have been very symbolic statement, why that was significant. I'm really glad also that Selena had kind of patched things up with the princess, because I did love their friendship, and it was all just based kind of on miscommunication, and I think it was natural for Selena to go down that path of being like, oh my gosh, she's not the person I thought she was, because it was obvious that they were keeping secrets. So it's nice that all that is really resolved. I just want to do a really quick update. I didn't tell you since last update that I have actually started Crown of Midnight. I'm about 85 pages in on chapter 11. This reading process is a little bit more slow going, but that's literally just because we've been so incredibly busy. I've also been kind of splitting my time a little bit, reading really short books for like a different vlog project. So far, so good. There's something with, we're getting a lot of plot development. Selena is now our champion, so the king has sent her off on a few jobs. He believes he's getting what he wants. We know differently. Unfortunately, I guess she's feeling, you know what I kind of feel weird about though, is like she's like this fierce assassin who's known for murdering people, and yet now suddenly she's feeling like she's got a conscience over killing people, unless we have something wrong, unless her reputation is like completely what we don't know. I don't know. I think it is a little bit on the silly side. Oh my goodness, there's one part about Parrington and his relationship with the outcast Keltane. I never know how to say her name. It's such a weird name. She's locked up in a dungeon, and I do kind of agree, like she was manipulated and told to do something by, I know I don't like her, but you know, does she deserve to be locked in the dungeon in the conditions that she is? Like, why don't they just send her home then? What's worse is Parrington goes to visit, and you get the impression that it is vile, disgusting how he is hurting her. So that's pretty rough. And for her, like, she doesn't even deserve that. As much as Selena hates her too, Selena is like, this cannot go on. This is not okay. So there's that bit of information. And then her relationship with Kale, I think, is really fun. Like, they hang out together after, like, in his rooms, they kind of hang out and read books and stuff like that. And, like, they're 100% like just friends. But I don't know if I want to see that go anywhere or not, or if I just like them as friends. The prince is still pretty salty about things. It does hurt me. I do feel incredibly sad for him, but at the same time, like, I still have to remind myself, like, it makes sense. So it's kind of weird. And I guess that's all I really have to say at this time. Hey guys, I guess it is time to do another update. We are reading, I think the last update I did was I finished Crown of Midnight on a really high note. I had heard from one of my friends that the first 2 books, they are not the best in the series, and it keeps getting better. But I really thought that they were really fun. But that is also because I don't really know what to expect in the next books. So I have been working on Assassin's Blade. I've made it quite a bit through. So I'm over halfway done. And they are all prequels to Throne of Glass. So this all follows what happened to Selena when she was working for Arobin. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. It's a weird name. And this leads up to the events of her getting thrown into Endover. Also, we are getting the relationship of Selena and Sam. We have The Assassin and the Pirate Lord. I finished that one. The Assassin and the Healer. I have finished that one. Those 2 stories I was not really enjoying much at all. I really felt that I was slogging through them. It was taking me a really long time. And I just was not enjoying reading these, but it's really important that I do read them. However, The Assassin in the Desert, we come back around. It ends up being quite exciting. It was a really good story. In The Assassin and the Healer, Selena does something that basically gets her in trouble. So then The Assassin and the Desert, she's getting punished. So she's sent off to go train in the desert. And this ends up being a really fun story. I really enjoyed this one. Now I have started The Assassin and the Underworld. I have really kind of just started this one, so I haven't made it too far, but so far so good. And the last 2 stories are about 100 pages each. So I don't know why I'm dragging on these right now. I haven't been able to read like I wanted to because I'm trying to play catch up on some YouTube videos. I'm also not doing very good on like some audiobooks that I was listening to. I have like a bunch of different audiobooks and I start listening to them. I'm just like, this is not working for me. So I'm kind of getting into a little bit of a reading slump right now where I'm just not either able to read what I want to read, or the books that I do have time to pick up are just not working for me. So my cat is complaining. She's being so annoying right now. We have a love-hate relationship. I love her, but she is the neediest cat ever. She's just in there yowling, wants attention, and now she doesn't want it. Now she's trying to get out of my hands. You want attention. Stop. It's time to do a bit of a quick update. I don't have the books on me, but I did finish Assassin's Blade. That was a rough start to that book, but I did end up really enjoying the last 2 stories. I know everyone that I've talked to is just like so upset about what had happened with Sam. And I did not meet them in that emotional roller coaster ride. I thought, of course, I'm not that cold-hearted. It's sad, but I don't know him enough to be that distraught over it. You know what I mean? So, that's that. Anyways, so then I started Heir of Fire, and I'm about 150 pages in. It's upstairs, like past chapter 16 so far. It is quite a bit thicker than the other books. And I don't know how I'm liking it. So we have actually 3 different perspectives that we keep alternating through. We have Selena's perspective, and she has met up with a fairy named Rowan, and we get to meet some other people from some higher up people that Selena has a connection to, and this storyline is so good. I'm really here for it. Then we have the perspective of Kale. He arranged for this whole thing. Go backtracking to Crown of Midnight. He had organized this whole deal to get Selena gone, but sacrificing what he really wants and going back to Aniel and taking his place in his role that his father wants him to take there. Because he and Dorian are kind of like at odds. Those chapters are all about Kale and like what's going on in his corner of the universe. Those chapters are fairly boring. Like, it's just maneuvering, whining about Selena, those kinds of things. And I just kind of don't care that much, but at least I know these characters. And so I already feel like I'm invested in their lives. I know their lives. So I understand, I'm following along at least really well. And then we have a new character perspective called Manon, Manon. She is a witch. She is one of the Iron Teeth witches. And we're getting a lot of information on these witches. So there's a bunch of different clans apparently. There's like Bobby Yellowlegs, who we met in a previous book. She is part of one clan. She was very old. People, they are like, how did she die? This is insane. Because that's like unheard of. And then we have Manon. She's part of a different clan. And then I think there's like a Blackbeak clan, and then there's another clan, I believe, too. And there's another girl is kind of butting heads with Manon a little bit. We see this like these characters kind of come together and they're kind of butting heads, and I think they're from different clans. And they're all kind of having to play nice despite what they would normally do. Manon is the daughter of like, I think a witch queen or something like that. The fact that the reason that they're all together is because they are being trained to ride the wyverns. And the wyverns have been bred. I hope I'm saying that right. Going back to like Crown of Midnight again, we're like, oh no shit. So we have like this army of wyverns, and they're going to train these witches to tame the wyverns, to be able to ride them, obviously, for an upcoming battle. Yeah. I'm just having a hard time with these chapters, and I think it's just because I feel overwhelmed by trying to understand all these different witches, and they have such weird names like Buckbeak or Blackbeaks, and Iron Teeth, and the explanations of like how their teeth will like just come out of the slits in their gums, and like I think it's just kind of really throwing me. I had this image in my head of what these witches looked like, and they were just like hideous and gnarled and things like that. But then I went and looked at some fan art of Manon, and this pulled up. I'll try to post this picture, and I was like, wait a minute, okay, she looks fierce, and I really like it. So and then I think even just sitting here now and kind of talking about the witches it's not like, I don't think that I have to remember all of these details about their hierarchy, but just understanding the fact that you're going to have all these different witches from different clans, and like they don't like each other, you know what I mean? So and I think one of them, like Manon's family, were actually run out of their town or something, so they've been on the run for like decades and decades. Also, they eat children, they eat human flesh. So yeah, I think just sitting here talking about them is actually making me more excited about those chapters. I think I could probably do without Kale's chapters, but I'm sure they're important. They'll come around and something will happen, and I'll be like, oh my god, of course I needed all of that, didn't I? When the purpose of it becomes known. Anyways, I have an early morning tomorrow. It's been a little bit since I've been to yoga, so I'm gonna go to yoga tomorrow, and then yeah, I really need to like sit down and get some reading in. Heir of Fire, I have made quite the progress. I am about page 380 or chapter 44, and I am just addicted to this now. It was weird that it took about 200 pages to really get totally invested in the characters, because we are on a different country or continent or something in this book, and so we have all new characters except for Selena, and it seemed a little bit slow to start. Let's see, I already said all that. Okay, so while it did take a little bit to get into, I'm just like so thankful that it has really picked up, because we started with 3 different perspectives, and we actually had another chapter from a 4th perspective. One character that I was kind of having trouble getting attached to, or one storyline I was having a hard time getting attached to, was one of the Iron Teeth witches, Manon. I want to say her name's Manon. M-A-N-O-N, Manon? Or is it Manon? Either way, kind of strange names sometimes, but I have really grown to love her. She is just so fierce, and her rebellion is so awesome. What she's doing with her wyvern is so cool. Like, she has really like souped her up. I have my theories on whether or not the wyverns can actually understand. So far, Manon is really the only one who feels like they can understand, and she's kind of alluded to that a couple of times, and everyone's just like, oh my god, you're crazy. So she's really dropped it, but she feels like her wyvern can understand her. I kind of have my suspicions, and I wonder, this might sound completely outlandish, but I'm wondering if her wyvern isn't actually Keltane, because something happened to the people who were having like headaches and stuff. Something happened to her, and I think she turned into one of these things. Right now it's probably just a far-fetched theory, but I still like to think about that. I keep looking for like little hints of, is there intelligence behind those eyes and things like that. Okay, so the other perspective is of Kale and Aiden Ashwyver. And we have come to learn who Aiden is, what his purpose is, what his motivations are. And it wasn't until that moment where I was just like, oh my god, I have to know. I cannot wait until Aiden and Aelin meet. I was also kind of wondering, because we've been building up the storyline of Aelin's and Aiden's past, and why Aelin wouldn't have sought him out after all these years. She's very recently in the story admitted what she fears that he would think of her because of things that have happened. So I think that's pretty interesting. Plus, she's really detached from her old life, and I just think that that's really interesting. So we're definitely building much more complex character into all of these different things, which, I love a very complex character. Finally, we have Rowan and Selena. They have been working together. Selena, she is just very friendly, very outgoing, will make friends with anybody, even the grumpiest people. Like, she finds a crack in their armor. And until recently, she has not been able to do that with Rowan. Rowan is very grumpy, icy. In the story with the Fae, obviously we still have mated pairs. Mated pairs are like, your true love or whatever. But there's something else now. We have just had this bombshell of a foreshadow drop in this book. Rowan was talking about this incredibly rare gift. I don't think he's ever seen it. They've only ever heard of it. It is so incredibly rare, and it is called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's spelled like C-A-R-R whatever. It's said in their old language or whatever. It's a blood bond. You have to be actively sharing blood some way or another in order to be able to share magic. So if, for example, one Fae is burning out on their magic, their blood bond person can share their magic with them. And I'm just thinking, I know Sarah J. Maas, and it's got to be a foreshadow. While I want to say it's probably going to be Rowan, I almost wonder if it isn't actually Aiden. I think that this bond is completely different than a mated bond. Like, a mated bond is like, I love you, but then like this blood bond is like, obviously, like warriors. So I wonder if we're going to have some sort of a weird triangle and it's going to get weird. I don't know. You might have to film my reactions because I feel like it's going to get insane before the end of this book. I think it's possible to finish this book before the end of the day. I didn't finish this book yesterday. I'm definitely finishing it today. Good morning. What time is it? It's almost about to be good afternoon. Chapter 55. 90 pages to go. We're about to finish up this fight that Selena is having against the flag, whatever. We just got the chapter that kind of goes over her entire history the night that she lost everything when she was a kid. The last day she called herself Aelin. I know, like, for the past 3 books, plus the novellas, the past 4 books, we have been building to this mystery of, like, what happened. And so we finally got it, and it was really cool. I'm sorry. And I have to say that while it's nice to have that background for sure, it felt a little anticlimactic. I think the biggest thing was the King of Adarlan. That's the most, like, mic drop, mind-blowing thing that, like, has happened. I feel like we could have puzzled out basically what had happened from all the information we've been given, except for the fact of the role that the King of Adarlan had in that night. Now the next big mystery is, who is the king? What is his power? He definitely has some sort of power. I think I have a theory. His power must be, maybe it's just a mind control. I have so many questions about the king. So I think that I'm gathering that he has this power of mind control. He was able to get in her brain and make her snap. How did he know she was powerful? He must already know the story of their family lines. I'm guessing that that's it. He just surmised that she probably has some sort of power, either from intelligence and people talking about her magic, and also because of the power of her heritage. I'm pretty sure he's probably well informed about her heritage, so that probably wasn't very difficult to come across. But the rings, I'm wondering if it isn't the rings, because all these people that have these rings, they don't really know. Aiden already felt that those rings weren't to be trusted, but he didn't know what they were for. But I'm wondering if it doesn't tie everyone who's wearing a ring, maybe not so that he can necessarily mind control them, but maybe they're linked somehow to him. I don't know. It'd be very interesting. I'm excited to know about all that, the rings. The other thing is, and I've suspected this for quite a long time, but they keep going back to the color of her eyes, and Aiden has matching eyes. I think that the king has known from day one who Selena was, because they made a point that he sat there and stared at her. Either he was sensing that she had power, but he also saw her eyes. Why allow her to be champion? Maybe he did try to kill her, but because she won, he just was going to play it out. Obviously, she wasn't using any kind of magic. So this is very interesting. Also, furthermore, Aiden. I think he knows full well exactly who Aiden is as well, and that Aiden is not going to be on his side. And when he tried to pull him into his confidences, like, he hasn't even given his son a ring, and yet he's given Aiden a ring. There's something very strange about that, and I feel like either he thought he could start mind controlling Aiden, and the irony of it would be interesting. I also think that he is fully aware that his son has magic. I don't think that's going to be any kind of surprise to him. So, okay, wait, what? Did he just say they're bonded? He said he knew Aelin was alive because during all of these weeks they had been breathing each other's scents. They had become bonded? What does they mean by bonded? Oh my gosh. Okay, so Selena had a huge flare-up. Some inner barrier composed of fear and lingering desire for normalcy that kept her from accepting the true depth of her power. The creatures fed on her despair and pain and terror. What if the victim let go of those fears? What if the victim walked through them and embraced them? That's what I was wondering, if, like, going through all of those old memories, because a lot of them She said she didn't remember some things about that night, and I wonder if, like, the Vogue forcing her to go through all of those memories reminded her, and so she could see it retrospectively and see that it wasn't her fault, and it was all a part of a plan, and so now she, like, get through just the pain and everything. So, oh, that's so cool. A flame erupted from the wall of darkness. A fire unfurled, filling the rainy night, vibrant as a red opal. The flame didn't singe a hair on her head, it flowed beyond and past him, glorious and immortal and unbreakable. And there beyond the stones, standing between two of those creatures, was Aelin, a strange mark glowing on her brow. Her hair flowed around her, shorter now and bright like her fire. Her eyes, though they were red-rimmed, the gold in her eyes was giving a living flame. As if she breathed fire into their cores, flames shot out of their eyes, their ears, their fingers. The two creatures didn't have a chance to scream as they burned into the cinders. Ah! Aelin is a badass. Okay. Oh my gosh. So Rowan just sliced his hand open and he's running for Aelin. He's gonna try to give her his power so she can keep going. I knew it was foreshadowing. I didn't exactly expect it to happen so soon. And I didn't know if this bond was gonna be like a bond where, like, they get romantically involved first or whatever. But oh my god. What did he say? Rowan reached her, panting and bloody. She didn't dishonor him by asking him to flee as he extended his bleeding palm, offering his raw power to harness now that she was well and truly emptied. She knew it would work. She had suspected it for some time now. They were, whatever that word is, Carneum. I knew it. I don't know why I'm so excited, because, like, I knew it, but I don't know. The moment is exciting. She grabbed her own dagger and cut her palm right above the scar she'd given herself to whatever end. I love that. I forgot, where was it? A couple chapters back, he was talking about how they would go to Maeve and he would give his blessings for her to Selena so she could get the information that she needed. But she's like, whatever, I'm gonna follow you to whatever end. And so they're just like, to whatever end. He whispered into her ear, I claim you too, Aelin Galathinus. This was not the end. This was not her end. She survived. Hold on. She just got another vision, but of the future? Who's sending futuristic visions into her head? And what the heck is it? Of course they're not going to tell us. We're going to have to, like, discover it. But that is so cool. Wait. Okay, so the Vogue is a demon that's inhabiting a human's body. So is that what happened to Keltane? Is that, like... I think that's actually what happened to her. A demon was taking over her body. I wonder if they're going to find a way to just get rid of the demons and keep the humans. So all of them they're going to be marked by wearing these weird stone collars. And I guess that gives them the pass to use that body and remain in that, like, anchors them to their world or something. Chapter 56. Okay, so we've been wondering about these towers for so long, and the towers have the weird marks on them. So the crystals, the towers are giant crystals, which are magical conduits, and then he's used the weird key somehow, and that's how he stopped magic? What? So if they could blow up the crystals, then they could bring magic back to their land. And somehow, the king is the only one that can have his power, so he figured out a way to control only how he can remain to have power, and then his son has power. I almost wonder if it's like within the crystal castle power can exist, but not outside of it or something, because that's what he fears, is an uprising against him, and he doesn't want other people to be able to fight back. I thought Maeve was going to be, like, fearsome, but oh my god, I don't have words. This is so amazing how she stood up to Maeve. Yes, thank you. she was incredibly clever with the whole ring and this whole thing that Rowan and her are doing with the blood oath. Okay. All right. So now they are going to be together forever and ever. Okay, seriously, like what just happened? Or Aelin was really cool. How she stood up to Maeve. How she bargained for Rowan's freedom. Thank you. I knew she would figure it out. I knew she'd find a way, but I didn't really expect it like that. I was like so confused. I had to read that part over a couple of times to figure out what was happening because it was just like he just like spun around and was about to like have Aelin's blood. And at first I didn't understand. I was like, wait a minute. It made him seem like a completely different character that would just turn around and be like, okay, I'm done with your, like, let me go submit to you. And then I was like, well, maybe it's because that way Maeve couldn't repossess him. I'm going to call it possess. Or maybe it's to protect Selena. I guess it is a way to protect her. So, okay, I think this is really, really cool turn of events. Oh my god. Okay, so Kale, Aiden, Saoirse, who's the healer, and Dorian, they all had this scheme and this plan to flee, and the king is summoning them all to his chambers. I'm so worried. They have a bunch of new guards with wyvern medallion things, so oh my god, are they gonna kill them all? He's not gonna kill his son. What are they gonna do? I think he's gonna kill Aiden. He can't kill Aiden though. Aiden is Aelin's protector. Dorian's gonna show his power, isn't he? Okay, I gotta keep reading. Oh no. Are they gonna kill her? Their uniforms were those of the men who hunted Ren. The king knows so much more than like the captain of the guard thought he knew. It's almost like I wonder if he allowed him to continuously play that role because he thought that he was safe, but he has his own private guards actually watching his movements. Oh my god, is Aiden confessing everything? Your stupid bastard of a boy captain figured out that I'd been working with one of the rebels. He's been blackmailing information out of me for months to give to his father to offer you when the Lord of Aniel needed a favor. What a brilliant plan. Oh my god, I love him. All you monsters can burn in hell because my queen is coming and she will spike you to the walls of your God's damned castle. Yes. I can't wait to help her gut you like the pigs that you are. Uh-oh. Are they going to kill Aiden? He cannot help at this point. Yes, you can. Okay, now we're getting information on the ring. I just can't believe that Aiden would sacrifice himself like that in that room when he's worked so hard and put his mission to Aelin above everything else. I don't know. Okay, maybe he won't die because he's gonna now be bait. Oh my gosh. He baited him into a confession. He totally did. Why should I release the true traitor of this? Oh my god, is he still gonna kill her? I hate to say it, but I kind of want Dorian to have a reason to snap. But I don't want her to die because I actually like their little romance. It's cute. All her years of remaining invisible, all her training, first from those rebels, and is she the spy? The contacts they'd sent her family to in Rifthold, all of it ruined. Oh my god. He found out Amethy is a spy? Oh my god, I did not see that coming. That's not the way it works with traitors. Okay, but so I wonder, who is her friend? Is her friend Aiden? I'm just like actually really impressed by how calculated this whole thing was. Like having all of these people called to the king's chambers. The king had already known all of this stuff. He, or at least knew something was up. He knew Dorian already had magic, called it, but he wanted him to lose his temper and let it out. So that's why he beheaded Saoirse, because he knew that that would do the trick. While Saoirse might have still been a traitor, why didn't she go to the dungeons like Aiden? He wanted to piss off Dorian to get him to show. So now he gets to unleash his power. So, all right, it is done. I finished it. What an amazing ending. I can't go pick up Queen of Shadows just yet. I've been literally reading all day. I need to get some stuff done. First and foremost, I gotta take a shower. We'll talk soon as I get into the next book in the series.